They all have the same goal. We like to use the word potential because there are no guarantees.
The School of American Ballet is the preeminent ballet school in the U.S.
Tayella had offers from Houston Ballet and Bolshoi, but all she sees is S-A-B.
Balanchine created the School of American Ballet.
Balanchine style is not easy. There's a lot of detail.
Classical ballet is slow and swan-like.
Balanchine, it's faster, sharp, and energetic. There is more power.
Lots of children have the body, but not the spirit for it.
If they don't have that, it's not going to work.
It's about why you dance. It's just a chance for me to be vulnerable without having to, like, talk about it, you know?
The training here is a lot more intense.
There's just so many talented dancers.
There's competition everywhere.
We are auditioning for the Nutcracker.
It's not a recital of just children. They're performing with the top companies in the world.
Last year, I didn't get anything, and I was terrified.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to use you.
It is a little bit of a roller coaster.
I think you come to SAB to get into New York City Ballet.
Once you've been in New York City Ballet, it opens up a lot of doors.
Okay, girls, here we go. Dancing is kind of a sense of freedom.
I look to that calendar. It's about to get real.
Ballet is an unforgiving art form.
It's my dream to prove that I deserve to be there.
When you're on Pointe, you forget about what's happening and just be free. I want to do ballet for my whole life.
The dancing, the music, the costumes, the sets, I can't live without it.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ripa, host of Live with Kelly and Ryan, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this 92nd Street Y Talk, a conversation with the team from the Disney Plus incredible docuseries On Pointe. I'm going to let our panelists introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Larissa Bills, and I'm the director and producer of On Pointe.
Hi, my name is Kai Misra-Stone, and I am a dancer in On Pointe.
I'm Dena Abergel, and I'm the Children's Repertory Director for New York City Ballet and on the faculty of SAB, the School of American Ballet.
So I just want to begin by saying how well done this docuseries is and how exciting it was for me. I actually had goosebumps watching every step of the way. How did all of you individually become involved?
Well, from the filmmaking perspective, I was working with one of our executive producers, Matt O'Neill, and he had a relationship with the School of American Ballet that had gone back a few years. And at some point in 2019, we started to have discussions with the School of American Ballet to come in and capture the sort of year in the life of the school. And the timing prior to that had never been quite right, but for some reason this worked. And we partnered with Imagine Documentaries, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer's company, and they brought it to Disney Plus. And before you know it, we were off and running, and we were really embedded in the School of American Ballet, which was an incredible experience, unprecedented access and lovely time to be there.
Larissa,
Yeah.
did you have a background in dance at all? Did you ever?
I wouldn't call it a background. I would say, you know, like most American girls, I'm a Gen Xer, you know, you took ballet as a kid. I was an ice skater for a little while, but, you know, I hit 13 and my interests went elsewhere. But my mother loved to dance, and she was a dancer into her teens, and she really instilled this love of it in me. And of course, I knew who George Balanchine was. I knew the New York City Ballet. I knew the school, but not that in depth. Like, I wasn't a crazy ballet fan. I thought it was beautiful, and I really enjoyed it when I saw it. But now I have a completely whole new appreciation for it. And I could do a lot of those dances in Nutcracker.
Yes.
from watching it so many times.
So, Kai, how did you get involved? Tell me about your foray into the dancing and the project.
Well, initially, I had no idea what this documentary was. When it started filming, I just thought it was some sort of ballet thing. I had no prior knowledge towards it. A little background on my dancing. I started going to School of American Ballet when I was 7 years old, and I started in the prep division. And I just went on higher through the levels. But yeah, I really had no idea what this documentary series was about until they emailed me, they called my family, and they were like, we want you to participate in this. Would you like to?
And Dena, you know, if it's one thing that seems thematic, is that the life of a dancer within the company begins, it seems, as a student and extends on through the company and then to teacher. Is that right?
Yes, and actually one of the things that I think Larissa captured so beautifully is how at a very young age we teach them in a very professional, detail-oriented way how to learn and how to train, and how that goes from our youngest students all the way through the advanced levels. And then as one of the girls becomes an apprentice, and then you see the performance with the company members, how all of that is instilled in them from the time they begin at the school.
It's very interesting to watch. You know, for me, I was watching the process when you're I don't know how to describe it, recruiting, you're looking for young students, and you seem to know what you're looking for in terms of certain aspects of their physicality. Can you share with us any of that process?
Sure. I mean, I am not the person who does the audition process. I cast the children once they're already in the school.
Mm-hmm.
But from my experience, I can just share with you that you have to have a certain flexibility, a certain body that can do the positions required of ballet, hip rotation, foot flexibility, so that when you're asked to make a ballet position, it's not going to hurt you. So when Kay, who's the head of the school, and Katrina, who's the head of our children's division, are auditioning children, they know exactly what kind of bodies have the potential to be able to do ballet in the way that we are asking them to.
Kai, did you know who George Balanchine was when you were 7 years old?
So before I got into SAB, I did do these workshops that SAB had put out. And they did talk a little bit about George Balanchine, but I didn't really know who he was. I had no knowledge about the ballet world. I just thought that I'd try this. But I've grown to learn that George Balanchine was like a very important person in ballet, a stepping stone for American ballet. He came from Russia. He did all these things. He made a school, and he just wanted children to have the opportunity to be able to dance.
And so what was your audition process like? Were you nervous? Do you have such faith in yourself? Like, you're such a young person. I would think you would be riddled with nerves.
I was definitely nervous. All auditions that I've had the nerves that come with it. But I go with an open mind, and I think that that's something that everyone should go with when they do it, because you might go out not getting the role, you might get the role, but it's an experience to learn from, so you can use the knowledge when you're older.
So, Dena, if you will, right now during this time, I miss taking my kids, and I've done it since they were infants, to the Nutcracker. And it was such a part of our lives that my kids, who are adults now, actually said, I really miss going to see the Nutcracker. And can you take me inside the audition process and how you go about casting such a central piece of certainly New York City culture, but in watching the documentary, you realize a lot of the dancers, their first experience with ballet was coming to New York and seeing that performance.
That actually hit me a lot in the documentary. Hearing from so many of the dancers, whether they were young and now performing in the Nutcracker or the older dancers, that it was seeing the Nutcracker, being in the audience, that brought them to the School of American Ballet, which is a real plus, I think, in exposing this whole world of the Nutcracker to the world, because think of how many students are going to want to come to the School of American Ballet now, right? The casting process for the Nutcracker is the most intense of the year, particularly because it comes right at the beginning of the year, and everyone has so many hopes and so many dreams. And it's interesting for me to watch this as a viewer when I'm actually inside of it. I was telling my husband that last night when we were watching some of the episodes, and how strange it is to watch yourself when that's you, you know what it feels like to be inside of that experience. And what I feel is that when I'm in the room, in the studio with the children, it's really a much more intimate thing than what you're talking about experiencing it from the stage. I know these kids. I've taught most of them. The ones who are going to do the leads or even in any of the more advanced roles, are kids that I've worked with for a long time. So it doesn't have this bigger than life feeling. It has more of a teaching feeling of expanding their experience at the school, of watching them grow as dancers. And I think Larissa saw all of that when I first start working with the Princes or with the Maries or with the Angels, and how much work has to go into learning how to make it from a step to a performance. And, Larissa did an incredible job of capturing that journey. So
I wonder if you have the ability when you watch it, because you are in it, to zoom out and get the chills that the rest of us experience, because I was watching it also with my husband, and he doesn't know anything about ballet, and he had more chills than I had, if that makes sense.
I was on the verge of tears or crying most of the time, because the other thing is that I still only am part of one side of the experience. And what Larissa captured is the entirety, the full circle of the experience. To see Kai in his living room with his family, to see where all the children come from, to see their stories come alive, is something that I don't get to experience. And when I make those casting choices with Arch, and we have this very difficult moment of telling some of the children that we can't have them in the production, and then this ecstatic moment when we tell those that are cast that they've gotten the role, and then I know they're going to run out to their parents, and I never see that joy and that just excitement. And so it was so much fun for me to see the kids running and being picked up by their dads, and having their moms, just it was so exciting for me to see that other side.
Larissa, how did you choose who you focused on? Because, I think ballet dancers and teachers are so riveting. Your eye just wants to drink in every single person. So how did you choose who you were going to focus on in the stories that you told?
That was really hard, because there are so many incredible, talented kids with very interesting family lives. They're coming from all over New York City. The older kids are coming from all over the world in some cases. And I think, part of the practicalities of filmmaking is also narrowing down those choices. And some of that was sort of provided in the fact that we knew we wanted to represent each of the parts of the Nutcracker as much as we could. So in the casting of the Nutcracker, that sort of gave us an opportunity to meet Kai, for instance, who we hadn't known before, but now he was playing the prince, and we wanted to be able to follow that journey. We obviously, we worked with the school and then talked to families, and in this very in the moment filmmaking, you could see certain stories emerging, and part of that happened in the edit room and part of that happened when we were out in the field. But it was a very organic process of working with the school, working with some families, seeing how we could best represent the diversity of the school as well, and communicate, that ballet is not just an elite art form. It's not just a white art form. We wanted to really show the whole package because the school is incredible in that way. It's really, really unique and really interesting.
I have to say that's a big takeaway for me watching it was, wow, ballet it's so accessible. And I think that if people resist ballet in any way, it's because they think that it's too intimidating or too scary, or they couldn't possibly, it couldn't possibly be for them. And what you did, what was so great about your storytelling, is that you said to everyone, the audience at home, oh no, this is for you. And through the young kids and then the older kids, they really all sort of said the same. There was so much of this, oh, I never thought ballet was for me because I thought it would be too intimidating of a world, or that people are supposed to be snobby if they're in ballet. And you really took all of that away and just showed the sheer beauty, the artistry, the athleticism, and the work, but that these are people who are normal people, and I think that was really, I think it did a great service to the world of ballet, I think.
I just want to jump in and agree with you, Kelly, because I thought what Larissa excelled at was bringing the humanity of our world to the audience. And I think exactly like what you said, the Sugar Plum Fairy with her tiara and the prince with his pink suit, people don't see the people behind all of that. And we try so hard at the school to show and to care about the people and the students who are there. And we do so much to work with them and help them grow as they develop. So I'm so happy that she captured that.
Yeah, and it's funny, just being in New York for so many years and taking, like I said, my own kids to see the ballet. The greatest representatives of how human the ballet are the dancers themselves when they come out and interact with people. And, once in a while, a snowflake will be outside that you can take a photograph with. And it's just always it reminds you that these are people, not just these extraordinary, unapproachable beings sent from someplace else, So Kai, in preparing for all of this, right, and the pressure of making the cut and your performances, what was it like having cameras following you around everywhere?
So at first I was a little bit skeptical because I'm a bit camera shy. I don't like having a camera in my face all the time. I always tell my dad, no, don't take videos, don't take pictures. So yeah, at first I didn't really like it, but as I got to know the people behind the cameras, I got to know that this is for a good reason, and I can't just be like, oh, I don't like cameras, like I need to just deal with it. And I think also it was a very good experience being filmed because I've never been in something like this before. So it teaches me about the real world and about documentary making, because maybe when I'm older, if I'm not a dancer, maybe I'll be a documentary filmer. So you never know.
That's I mean, Larissa, that has to make you feel good.
That's amazing. Yeah. It was so important for us. I mean, this is something I wanted to mention, in that it was so important for us to keep the same crew, because we're working with kids, and because we wanted to just kind of blend into the scenery at some point. And I had an amazing, very small team. So we kept a pretty small footprint in order to not be in the way of all the important work being done at the school, but also so that there was a familiarity. And by the end of the year, we really got to know Kai's family. We got to know the other families that we were working with. And, they've kind of become the documentary family now, which is really, really special and exactly what you want on a project.
You know, what's interesting is that, Kai, you won't appreciate this right now in this moment, but, you have this captured forever. You, at this age, you have it forever. And I can just tell you that I'm getting emotional just thinking about what it will be like for your parents to look back, to always be able to look back and see you in this moment, and so with that, take me into you finally are, it's the night of your first performance. Can you take me to where your mind was, or how do you, is there something you say to yourself to get ready, knowing that this is going to be seen by so many people?
Well, I had just a mix of emotions on opening night. It was nerves, it was excitement. I was scared a bit, but I think it's all normal. As for what I told myself, I really didn't tell myself anything, to be honest. However, people around me, there was so much support. Like, they were like, you're going to do great, And I was just like, okay, I can have fun. And I think if I just let my mind slip into the prince's character, the Nutcracker's character, I won't worry as much about the steps. And so that was really important for me to see just how I dealt with it on stage. And I think I did pretty well, since considering it was one of my first times in a role that big, on a stage that big. So I think, honestly, I just went in with an open mind.
And so what is it that you're hoping? I mean, do you have any hopes? What are you hoping people will take away about you? What are you hoping to inspire any other dancers to follow in your footsteps, or people that may be just watching this and on Disney Plus and saying, maybe I can study ballet? Like, what are you hoping?
Well, yeah, like you said, how dancers are people too. I hope that young kids, even if they might not be dancers when they grow up, I hope that they can appreciate us and just know that we're people, and we work hard too. We're not like dolls. However, I also think that it's just a special experience to watch this, because not many people get to see behind the scenes. And behind the scenes is basically all of the work. Obviously, there's work on stage, but that's like the smallest fraction of it.
And I'm going to ask you, Larissa, what is the same question? What is it that you're hoping the audience's big takeaway is?
I mean, I really do hope that there is an appreciation for the art form, for the genius that is George Balanchine, and the school and that training, and also just a sense of joy. I mean, what struck me so much about making this is walking into the school every day, and the world sort of melts away, and you're with great kids doing really well at something they're good at. It's a beautiful art form, and I hope that joy will be conveyed to the audience.
Dena, what about you? Because I would think, this time that we are in is so unique, of course. But I would think having especially the Nutcracker, viewed, and the process behind it viewed by such a worldwide audience, people that might ordinarily not have access to seeing George Balanchine's The Nutcracker. Are you anticipating a sort of swelling of kids auditioning in the future? What is it that you're hoping for, and what do you think the big takeaway will be?
What I'm hoping for is, like everyone, just an appreciation for the art form, an understanding of how the culture of ballet has changed over time, of how we work with the students from a very young age, using ballet to teach them so many lessons about life. You know, hard work, discipline, joy, performance. Something that came across really strongly to me in the filming was that each person who comes to the school has an individual story. We all do, right? And each person comes with their own story and arrives at the school to be part of a community, a family of dancers. And even with the innate competition in the field, there is so much support and teamwork and feeling of togetherness that the children and the older students experience that I'm not sure the wider audience is aware of. And I think it comes across really beautifully. And it's what I love, it's what I feel in this world of ballet that I've grown up with and intend to spend my entire life in. It's what I love about it, and I think it's all captured. And it was, you know, whether it's dancing in the corps de ballet or being a part of Larissa's team, when we are working together towards something, how something beautiful arrives. And I just hope that the audience enjoys. Like you said, I think it's such a pleasure to watch young people strive and achieve and fall down and get back up and learn all the lessons that we learn, and that I have the ability to teach them through this beautiful art form. So I hope that is what they take away.
You know, Larissa, I have to tell you that I keep going back and likening this to a song that is sung by whatever your favorite singer is, the greatest singer, and your favorite song, right? And it's so good and it's so incredible that you in your car think you sound just like the artist. And I find that this docuseries did that for me as I was sitting there watching, and my family was with me, and we were all watching this together. We were all sort of sitting up a little straighter, maybe dancing out of the room, maybe pointing our toes while we were watching. And it was just such an incredible, it was an exhilarating feeling. And it's a feeling that I have only gotten when I go to see the ballet. So to have that brought into my living room is such a gift for everyone that will be watching this. It really is such a gift. I mean, I owe you a debt of gratitude for making this project come to life.
Thank you. That means so much. And to your point, I think every time the crew walked in there, we all similarly the posture is too good in that place. You can't not want to sit up. No, thank you. That means the world. That's what we want to accomplish as filmmakers. And this has been such a joyful, happy project to work on. And I hope that it brings a lot of happiness to the people that participated in it and to the audiences.
So I'm going to ask all three of you the same question. If there's one moment that you want people to see, what is it? So Larissa, I'll start with you since it's your project.
I mean, I answered a similar question, and I had said the backstage of the Nutcracker, seeing the performance on stage from the wings was just this incredible. To physically be there was incredible, and My wonderful cinematographers captured it so beautifully, and I think that that's, you know, part of the beauty aspect. But to Dena's point, I think seeing the work is actually the biggest takeaway here, because that's the most unique experience, seeing the weeks and weeks that go into all of that.
Dena, what about you?
You know, my answer to that is very personal. For me, the thing I was most concerned about in this whole project was what would happen to the kids who didn't get the roles, and how would they feel, and how would it be captured. And I was so protective of that. And I think the fact that Larissa captured, when I turn to Arch and I say, we have 100 more kids than we can cast, that the children and that the parents all understand that no matter what I do, I can't give everybody the part, and that how much I care about the children, the fact that that is conveyed is so important to me, because I always, it's heart-wrenching for me, that moment. And I love to give everyone the opportunity, and the fact that I can't, and that as parents and children, you can't possibly understand that. It's great to me that Larissa captured how much I care about that.
Yeah. And Kai, what about you?
I mean, in every field, everyone starts somewhere. And I feel like this documentary really captured how all the young people, their relationships with dance, and like what all of you said about how every person has their backstory, whether it be in ballet or anything else. And I feel like it was nice to see all the kids. I mean, I only watched one episode, but from that episode, I can see just listening to other people's take on ballet and what it means to them was really inspiring for me, even if I'm already doing it. So I hope that it can inspire other people.
Well, I just want to thank all three of you really for just taking us inside your world, and for really just letting all of us see behind the curtain, see what goes on, and the amount of work it takes to create such excellence. And I really am, I'm thrilled for all of you, and especially Larissa, what a great tribute, I would say, to Kai and Dena and to everyone involved in this project, especially George Balanchine, whose legacy lives on and on and on. And so thank you all so much for participating in this conversation at the 92nd Street Y. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.